1948 had two important milestones. First of all, our grandfather retired at age 65. Secondly, my father came to work for the company.
So I didn't work for my dad, I worked for Mr. Schindler. My mentor and my trainer and my boss and everything was Henry Schindler. I know the date he retired was in March of 1960, because that was the day I became president of the company.
John Brown is Ben Hur. To me, he is the face of Ben Hur.
Working with John Brown and Ben Hur is like working with a family-oriented type company, not just a company where you're an employee.
John Brown has led the way. He studied in the seminary the values, the ethics that he learned studying at the seminary just naturally carried with him. I mean, they're part of him. That's what he believes. It seems like whenever we would get up against a hard question, his answer was always, well, what's the right thing to do?
Could we bow together?
He leads by example. It's not do as I say, it's do as I do. And he lives by the golden rule.
If Ben Hur had helped to build St. Louis in the teens and 20s, it rebuilt the city in the 1960s and 70s. And much the same in Indianapolis, where, since opening a branch there in 1934, Ben Hur has helped to shape a skyline.
Well, Bank One was pretty challenging. We had a column there that weighed 70-something thousand pounds, and the tower crane could only pick up 44,000. So we had to devise a way to roll the column out close to where it went and then trip it up and make sure that it was directly over the anchor bolts so that it could be lowered onto the anchor bolts with a jack, because the tower crane wasn't capable of lifting it. All it could do would keep it from falling over.
Under John's leadership in 1982, a second branch office opened in Cincinnati.
We had a long-standing relationship with Huber Hunt and Nichols in our Indianapolis office, and there was a large project for Procter & Gamble in downtown Cincinnati, which was their world headquarters. And that was a limestone precast project, and I think up at that point it was the largest project that the company had ever done, and it was providing the precast limestone, doing all the design and connection work, and then installing it. And it was through that job that we opened the office in Cincinnati.
It was during John's presidency that his nephew Nick and his son Bill both joined Ben Hur.
And we lost my father. Well, he believed in honesty, telling truth, hard work, which he did, and always being a person of your word. He was a man's man.
William Nick Brown was a man's man. He loved his family and he loved to build. His resting place is marked by a simple square, but he left behind him the contour of a city.
I'm a third-generation ironworker. Having started working in the field and learning the trade has many advantages. When I think back, it's one, knowing what your capacity for doing work is. It's very hard, tiring work. You learn about working when it's so hot that you can't breathe and you're just soaked completely through, even through your belt sometimes, just that sweaty, or it's so cold you think you can't stand it. And you learn just how hard this work really is.
I always got the feeling that John was trying to groom Bill to run the company, but at the same time I think he was reluctant to turn the reins over to Bill, and I think that's probably just a natural thing.
I hate to think what the volume of our company used to be back when I was still president. I'd say $2-3 million a year, $5 million maybe. Last year I think we did $140 million. And that's Bill, not me. Bill's the growth man, he's super sales. Bill's the guy that hired the good people that went out and did the job. If he has a long suit, it's hiring good people and having a vision of where the company can go.
He's still on call, and he's still the chairman of the company, so he sits in all of our board meetings and our executive committee meetings, and we wouldn't be doing anything that he was adamantly against, I can tell you that.
We've always said in our company there's two things we don't build. We don't build casinos, and we don't build whorehouses for moral reasons.
Bill is carrying on the tradition of Ben Hur. He is the face of Ben Hur now.
When Bill became president in 1987, Ben Hur employed 26 full-time employees. Today, there are 70. That expansion has come under Bill's watch. He has added many new disciplines to Ben Hur, including general construction and, most important, steelworks, the company's steel fabricating venture.
Steelworks was a long time in the making. The basic beginning of Steelworks was myself and Ken Wilson, who's now our partner in this venture, when he was working at another fabricator, talking about doing some things in the fabrication and erection arena that weren't being done around town.
It gives a customer the ability to single source the responsibility of fabricating and erection versus separate contracts or subcontracts.
The rest of the general construction community embraced this idea of one of the best fabricators in the Midwest starting a ground-up new steel fabricating operation with a company like us who had been around as long as we had. So everybody realized once we dedicated ourselves to do this, there would be no going back. We had too much in capital and people invested in this thing. The whole dynamic of Ben Hur has changed with Steelworks. It ended up being a great thing. One job that we're really proud of is the UPS Worldport facility in Louisville, Kentucky.
The scale at UPS is enormous. 416,000 packages per hour can be sorted as they travel along 30,000 conveyor belts, which total 170 miles, all in one complex.
We had a client that was so happy with a prior performance that they came back to us and negotiated this huge project to the dismay of a lot of the big steel community throughout the Midwest and the South, because our steelworks operation was so new. It was just because the people trusted us because of our prior performance. They gave us the job, and we did do what we said we would do, and it really put us on the map for big-time steel.